25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides in the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper, and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers, and you will know my name is the Lord, when I lay my vengeance upon you. Just, a little bit out of the book of Tarantino,
Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men.
My favorite director in the world is Mr. Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino, I had never really seen a movie that I thought was a masterpiece or that really kind of moved me, And then a few years ago, I sat down and turned on Netflix and watched a little movie he made called Pulp Fiction. And the movie really touched me and moved me, and I was like, this is incredible. I want to do this someday. And before I had seen it, I had always wanted to be a plastic surgeon. And I was like, you know what? I need to make movies. I wanted to make people feel like Mr. Tarantino had made me feel that day. His writing has been influential on me. As I've written a few screenplays, I definitely can see how I've been inspired by him. And I really try and relate to his characters because his characters are so believable. The dialogue he writes for them and the backstories he writes for them is like, man, this is a real person. This seems like someone who I know and who I've known for years. And when it comes to his characters, I would say I relate to most of them, but the one I most relate to, I feel, is Jimmy from Pulp Fiction. And most would be like, man, that's a weird answer. He's such a small character, but you gotta think about Jimmy. He's someone who I feel wants to live this big life and be out there, but he's so stuck in the small life with, a wife and all this stuff, and he can't go do the things he wants to do, because if he does, she's pretty much, gonna divorce him.
No. Don't you fucking realize, man, that if Bonnie comes home and finds a dead body in her house, I'm gonna get divorced? All right, no marriage counseling, no trial separation. I'm gonna get divorced, okay?
I feel like I want to be this big person who goes and does all this adventurous stuff, but in my own heart, I won't let myself do it yet. I won't allow myself, just like Jimmy with his wife doesn't allow. I won't allow myself to go be out there and be big and I'm my own personal Bonnie, if that makes sense. I think I definitely relate to him in his past, Mr. Tarantino, with how he was, as you said. He started out working in a video store, and I started out working in a movie theater. I feel like in a lot of ways, and he had to fight to be this big director, and he had to go, which I'm trying to fight for my way into making movies. And you go to a movie theater, even if you don't, let's say you go to a movie theater, your parents say, we're going to a movie, and you don't know what you're seeing. You're seeing a Quentin Tarantino movie at least 4 minutes in, I would say. I feel like he has a very distinct style, and his style is so good, and I feel like everyone says they want him to try new things and do all this different stuff, but I think he's right at home. And for some directors, I feel like being right at home is exactly where they need to be, and they don't necessarily need to venture out into other things. Even though it would show more range as a filmmaker, I don't necessarily think that's what he needs to do. Death Proof, I think he definitely did try something different in the Grindhouse, and people want him now. I've heard so many people be like, oh, he needs to make a sci-fi film. he needs to do this. He plans on making 10 movies, and he's made 8 of them. I feel like he has 2 more movies left, and everyone's like, oh, I want him to branch out. But I don't think that's best for him. I think he needs to leave his stamp on the filmmaking industry with 2 more really good films of where he's at home. He's got the cast he needs. He's got, the perfect script, and that he can really just shine. Death Proof failing, I think, led Quentin Tarantino to say, in his mind, he said, okay, I've made this film, people don't like it. Let me make a film that's gonna blow people out of the water. Let me make something out of this script I've been working on for so long. Let's get the cast, let's get everything we need to, and let's make a really kick-ass film. Because that's what they did with Inglourious Basterds. So I think Death Proof failing definitely taught him a lot in terms of filmmaking too, because Death Proof, he was also, a lot of people don't think about it, but Death Proof he was the director of photography as well. And I think a lot of the problems with that movie was because he was director of photography first, director second, because he talks about how he always wanted to be a DP. So with Death Proof he really got to do that. So I think that kind of took it back a few steps. So then in Inglourious Basterds he got to come back and just start grinding out, and he really got to make a good, great film. This is the Hateful Eight 70mm Roadshow pamphlet that I got when I traveled down to Las Vegas to see the Hateful Eight in 70mm. I had learned that it was going to be in 70mm a few months before it came out, and I was like, man, I really want to go, but they're not having a showing near my house. And I was like, Vegas, that's going to be closest. So then I had planned for all these months to go, and then it looked like it wasn't going to work out. But then my friend at work was like, well, I'll go with you, and my friend lives down there and we can stay there. So we went and I saw it, and it was honestly the greatest movie-going experience I'd ever had. It really changed me as a filmmaker, and it really inspired me. I think The Hateful Eight's great, and I think it's actually one of his best. And also, it's, in my opinion, Mr. Samuel L. Jackson's best film ever. It's his best performance ever. Quentin Tarantino is so good at what he is good at, and he makes all these great films that inspire me as a filmmaker and that make me want to tell stories. And I do feel very blessed and lucky to live when he is making movies, and that I'm able to go see him at the cinema, the movie theater, because the movie theaters are slowly dying, and that's completely sad, and that shouldn't be how it is. So for him to make movies that everyone wants to go to the movie theater to see is really special.